Today I'm going to take you through L-sit position or working up towards V-sit, coming through with straight legs to a bent arm press to handstand. So it's going to look something like this. I haven't warmed up properly yet, so this is going to be a bit rough. So there, through to that position, push up to handstand. Now obviously I'm going to give progressions if you don't have this yet, and then back down with some sort of control, and then come back through to your start position. So before we start working the progressions towards the full movement, we just need to break it apart and look at the individual components. So we have the L-sit, which could be there, progressing to straightening the legs. Now, because we are thinking about a high position and eventually working to V-sit, we want to make sure that when we're in that position, the knees are higher than our hip crease. So as we extend the legs, we don't want this to happen. We want it all about closing this gap, bringing the legs towards the torso. Now, as we're straightening the legs out, there's obviously a flexibility demand. So making sure that you can, stand in position, get to at least 90 degrees, ideally more, with a flat low back. Most people, when they come down to that position, they're gonna have some rounding through here. That's gonna make it very hard or now impossible to get to 90 degrees. So this position, in the L-sit. So a lot of people think they need to work the strength and the condition of the L-sit, but it's actually their flexibility that needs to be worked first, or at least at the same time. And for your L-sit holds, you just need to be in a knee tuck position, not a straight leg position. We need to be confident in this shoulder stand position. So here, ideally straight legs, but don't rush into straight legs, especially on the high P-bars. Unless you have someone to spot you and stand here, or you bring the bars very close up towards the wall and step the foot over. But even that one's a bit sketchy because you need to have the legs like this, the head like that, which still creates quite a distance between you and the wall. So I'd start with very slow transitions for more like this position where you feel heavy towards your feet, and very, very gradually bring the head and shoulders down and the hips up, but definitely don't jump into the position because you're more than likely to backsplat. I'd even practice that on lower boxes or P-bars if you have it. So this position, working holds, working up to this position, build confidence, balance, strength in that position, and then eventually extending the legs up. Then if you're up to the level, we want to be able to handstand on the P-bars that we'll be pressing up to so having some control, balance and ability just to hold this position. So this is a great warm-up if you have it already, or you need to work up to it. But again, I'd be balancing on small, low parallettes, and then slowly increase the height of the bars or boxes until you're confident to exit if you need to on the higher bars. We can then start to look at the eccentrics, so the down phase of the components. So we have the bottom half of the movement first. So from this shoulder stand, either this or this, passing through to your L-sit position. So obviously you're going from your shoulder stand progression to your L-sit progression. Don't suddenly try and up the progression when you start to do the transitions. Stay where you're at currently, and then as you progress you can start to put the harder variations together. So initially it might look like this, coming through to this. Then we can do the same for the handstand push-up component. Now obviously with the handstand push-up component, if we're going to do the full movement, you need a deficit handstand push-up concentric, so be able to push up from that bottom shoulder stand position all the way to handstand. But we can test it, we can train it with the eccentrics. So from your handstand, try and keep that body as one piece, slowly come down, shoulders come forwards, feet come back, and then you finish in that shoulder stand position. Now if you're up to that, you can then add in the eccentric through to the L-sit. And if you're flexible enough to do it, just in that V-sit, think about it going towards the V-sit, you're just going to try and close the legs as much as you can towards the torso. Just be careful that you don't lean backwards, so your angle is actually staying the same. You think you're going towards the V-sit, but you're just leaning back, and your leg angle to torso stays the same. Then we have the same, but just the concentrics. So we're going to go from L-sit, V-sit, tuck L-sit, whichever variation you're doing, through to your shoulder stand. And then I would put in the eccentric back again. So you can do reps of the variation that you're working on, go between the two. Now, if you have the strength and ability and balance to do the concentric handstand push-up phase, I'd actually do the L-sit first, because you might as well go through that, and then you can even carry on some momentum to go up, which makes it slightly easier. But you might as well do the full movement and not just the concentric. And it could be from a tuck position, and then open and push, Or it could be the full movement. With the straight legs. Now, if you don't have the tall P-bars at home, I definitely recommend you buy some of these. These are fantastic. It's school holidays at the moment. I have the kids at home and I'm training while I fix lunch. So these work fantastic. It's obviously beneficial to have the high ceilings as well. Let me know where you're at with this one. Drop any questions down below and I'll speak to you on the next one.